Right now we're talking Newton Brookline Real Estate, joined by our Boston Power player, Matt Montgomery from Compass.
Great to see you.
Just Compass.
Compass,
right?
Yep, just Compass.
Let's talk about that market.
Yep.
Where are we at right now?
So we're coming into the fall. Fall market's always unpredictable. This year's looking really good. Last year we were a little bit stalled out, I think largely because of the unknown of what was going to happen with the election. This year, that uncertainty really isn't there. Economy seems to be relatively strong in Boston. People buying and selling. Really good market through the spring and into the summer. Stall out a little bit late summer, and now we seem to be picking up fast. In the more moderate priced properties, we're seeing multiple offers already. Very competitive. Things trading well over ask. People dropping contingencies. And it's being super competitive. So still a good time to sell. As you go up over 2 to 5, 3 million even, market's a little softer. And there's definitely opportunities to pick up property at really good value. And you know, I always like to point out to my buyers that this is the time of year to buy. You know, if you have the option of buying anytime you want, the fall is usually the best time. There's a reasonable amount of inventory. It's a little bit less competitive. You're not going to fight quite as hard for anything. And sometimes there's things where you can really make an opportunity for yourself.
Do you find that you come across a lot of buyers that maybe thought they wanted to be downtown Boston and they come a little bit further out to you?
They do, yeah. And I mean, you know, the great thing about Newton is depending on where you are, and Brookline, I mean, parts of Brookline are literally 100 yards from Boston or right on the line. But even, you know, hundreds of yards from Back Bay. Newton, while, you know, a lot of it's farther out, because the access on the Pike is so good, and now we don't even have tolls, you know, you can literally be downtown from a lot of houses in Newton in 10 or 15 minutes. And rush hour might add 5 minutes onto that. It's really not substantive. So I mean, I live in Newton Center. I go eat in downtown Boston probably twice a week, and I can leave 15 or 20 minutes before a reservation and be early for dinner. I mean, it's like that quick.
That's close.
Yeah, and there's just great opportunities where we've seen Boston condo prices just going through the roof. You know, the Newton high end has really sort of leveled out, and there's good opportunities to buy, you know, $2, $3, $4 million houses for a fraction of what you would pay for a condominium that's a third the size.
A lot more bang for the buck.
Just a lot more bang for the buck, and really good product. You know, in great locations with really good access. And a lot of the great thing about Newton is like, while you have good access into Boston, you also are in a city that has great amenities. You know, you've got good restaurants, you've got good, you know, good walkability, you know, good access to stores and shops and Whole Foods and, you know, Trader Joe's and, you know, whatever you need, it's kind of right there. And if you need to get out of town and you need to go north, south, or west, you've got access to transportation that's just, you know, immediate. And it's a really awesome place to commute from. And a lot of times today we've got, you know, families with 2 incomes, or, you know, kids in school in one place and another spouse working somewhere else, and they have, you know, each party has different needs, and they can all get met with, you know, the least amount of compromise possible.
The numbers that we're throwing around, I can't believe it, that they're real numbers. We're talking about
houses.
For Newton Brookline, that price point has 2 commas in it.
Yeah.
What about for the person out there that's looking to move to that area, but more at the first time home buyer bracket?
Yeah, no, there's great stuff. I mean, there's totally opportunities. I mean, it's gotten tough, and the market under $1 million, certainly under, you know, 1.2 even, but under $1 million is just really, really, really competitive. So we saw a house come on this week at like $775 and trade at $850, and it needed a lot of work. You know, if you're in that like 8 to $1.1 million, $1.2 million, you can definitely buy a house. You know, the real question is, what are the compromises you're going to make? You know, where's the location? What's the condition? What's the size? But there's definitely property. I mean, you know, and we love doing that business, by the way. I mean, I had to have an argument with a client a couple days ago. I helped them buy a house for $1.4 million, and they have a condo they're selling in Brookline for $800,000, and they're worried that it was like that I wasn't going to be interested. And I'm like, that's the business I want. You know, I love doing the high end. I love helping people either either developers or end users like sell expensive houses or even more importantly buy them. But I love that sort of, you know, meat and potato business of like 500 to $1.5 million. I mean, like I couldn't buy my kids clothes and send them to camp without like that business. And we try to take pride in servicing those clients at the same level that we service the high end. Like, you know, I don't really pay attention to like what the price point is. It's like the client's needs, you know, that $800,000 property a lot of times is a larger asset to that seller than the $4 million house is to the $4 million seller. And they all deserve to be treated with the same level of care and respect and attention.
Absolutely. Now let's flip it to your business for a second.
Sure.
You've had tremendous growth. I've
Yeah.
been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, 17 years.
You know, for the person that's just getting into the business, what would you attribute your success to? If you had to give them one nugget of information to capitalize on.
Really, it's knowing where your business is going to come from. And I'm going to give you 2 nuggets because I can never do one when you can do 2.
It's okay.
And
even
the
do 3
other,
if you want.
the other piece of it is know what your weaknesses are. You know what's the thing that's going to hold you back and go solve that problem, right? So when I started in the business, I was 33 years old, which seems like a relatively mature adult, but in the greater Boston real estate market, and especially as you go west into the suburbs, I was a kid. I mean, I would walk into a 60-year-old's house and they would look at me like, you know, like we're not going to give our most important asset to you. You're like 14, right? At that point, I've been working for 15 years. But, you know, so what I did was I found somebody who had experience, who was established, and I made myself indispensable to them. And over the course of a year or so, built a partnership that launched my business from, you know, 0 to 100 the very first year, you know. And people say, what did you do? I'm like, well, if you saw me those first 2 or 3 years, I was working because I did nothing else, right? Like that's all I did. I put all of my energy into work, learning the market, understanding the market, learning the nuances of a real estate transaction, and I just made it, you know, my life. And you know, today I get to reap the benefits of that a little bit, but I still live and breathe it.
Laser focused, love it. Thank you for coming in.
Thank
As
you.
always, sharing information, Newton Brookline area, nobody better. So
Thanks.
thank you, Matt. And if you want to connect with Matt and his team directly, check out mjmrealestate.com, and we have more real estate tips and market information just like this right here on boston.com.